Okay, so I've been trading, but I have not been recording or trading the same way as I have been because I got sick. And so I had been kind of quarantined and had to trade on my phone. And as it turned out, I learned a few things through this experience. My trading technique actually changed quite a bit. And I did some really good trades, and I think it was a good thing because you can see this is the 4-hour chart that we're looking at here, and you can see that we've had some huge volatility even during the day. Like, okay, so this candle right here, for instance, it started out at about 61.32 and ended the day, well, it went down at one point to almost 5,900. So that is a swing of an incredible amount of like, what is it, 150, 250? I think it's $250, or not dollars, but 250 points. I've never seen anything quite like that. And each day, like this day right here, this is a swing of let's see, between 60.50 and again 5,900. So we're looking at a swing of 150 points. And each day, and you can see these great big candle swings, and they would drop very quickly. So there's an extreme amount of volatility. This is the line, the beginning of the new year right here. And anyway, let's keep looking at, I kind of zoomed in, changed the candle sizes each time. Now we're looking at the 1-hour chart, and you can see how quickly those movements happened. This is, within an hour's period, it dropped 250 points there. Within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours here, it went up 150 and recovered. So lots of swings, and I think part of the reason is that it is making kind of a drop right now, but it's counter trend to what it's been for a long time, like a year or two, or actually probably more than that. Probably more like 10 years. It's been going up. So we're kind of making a dip, a recovery dip, and it's fighting it with everything it's got. And so that makes it extremely volatile. So of course you want to be careful. And one of the things that I've done differently is on my phone is I tend to focus more on the longer term charts and find levels and supports through that. Here's the 30-minute chart here. All right, so this is actually I brought it up on as the 1-minute chart here, and you can see the trades that I made. I made 2 trades that day, and you can see that it hit a support level here, and when it started to go up, that's when I got in, and I got in at 7:10 in the evening, which is also very unusual for me, and I held on to it until it got up to here, which is a phenomenal trade, really, $287. And I held it for until 7:44 that evening. And then I made another trade at 9:13, held onto it until 9:20. And so that day I made, 2 really good trades right there, and kind of opened my eyes to this new way of trading, which was kind of just like looking at resistance levels, support levels, putting in exit orders ahead of time, and then just kind of holding on, I guess, and not getting tied up with all of the emotion of seeing the movements on the active trader ladder over here. It would just like be jumpy all over the place, and it just does something to you. Your emotions just, it frays your nerves to see it move that much, and you tend to react the wrong ways and too quickly. Okay, here's the second day that I traded. I actually just made 2 trades. The first trade, I never even sustained a loss, and I didn't even get into the peak. I started to see it drop, and I knew that it was going to go down to the blue line down here, so I got in, and that was a almost 10-point drop right there, and it went up just a little bit. But again, I was looking at the longer term charts, and I could see it had hit a resistance level. I still was in a profitable position, and I was pretty sure it was going to drop. So I just waited it out and made $400 on that trade. And when it hit the peak up here, this line that I had drawn, the Fibonacci line, I got into a short and wrote it down. May have sustained a small loss at one point. I think I didn't quite get in at the bottom, but it dropped just like I knew it would. And when it hesitated and started to go up, I got out. And I think that was also because I saw this level here. This was acting as my support. And so I got out there and did really well on that one. So then the third day that I traded, got a little more proactive about it. It was kind of, I don't know, just kind of traded as I checked it during the day periodically. The first trade I made was at 10 o'clock and got in here, kind of wobbled around for a little bit, and then I got out here. And so that was, a decent size trade, $100, more like my normal size. When it dropped a little bit, I wrote it up until the Fibonacci line there and got out. And then I just kind of waited. The other thing I was doing that was a little different was I would set alerts at certain key points that when it passed that point, then I would be interested in trading because something probably would be happening. But then, in the meantime, I would just shut down my phone. I wouldn't look at it. So there's no emotion involved there at all. And I just trade whenever it's convenient for me. So I didn't get back into the trading again until noon, 12:24. I placed this one here, and it went straight down pretty much. It, threatened to go up a little bit, but it never was at a loss. I put in an exit order right there and got out and did a nice job on that one. And then this one as well. When it hit that orange SMA, I got into a short and wrote it down. Again, no loss right there, maybe $100 loss at one point, but it was not bad for that much of a trade, so that was awesome. And Monday night, I did a stupid thing, and right before I went to bed at 10:05, I put in a trade, and with this big drop right here, I thought, oh, it's going to drop some more, so I got into a short. And it's moving really slow at 10 o'clock at night. And I knew that, but I thought, well, it's all right. I know it's going to go down there eventually. So I waited it out. At the highest point right over here, I was in a loss of $300. But I just kind of knew it was going to drop. I was pretty certain of that because of the data I was looking at. Well, sure enough, right here, it had a drop that I was looking for. And I actually got out almost at the bottom right there. I was pretty tickled with myself. I made $225 on that one, but I would not suggest doing that trade. That was not a good trade for me, just because I held on to it for so long, 2.5 hours, and I should have been going to bed because I wasn't feeling well. So anyway, but it worked out all right. Okay, and then Tuesday, I made a bad call. I saw that it was going up. I got into a long right here. I could have gotten out at one point, but at opening bell, it started to drop. And I could have gotten out here as well, but I chose not to. And it dropped big time. And actually, it took me a while just being on my phone. That's the one downside of trading on the phone. I can't place the orders as quickly as I could with the active trader ladder. So it took me a while to actually decide to get out, and I actually did a reverse at 6,007. So I wrote it out for 32 points, which was extremely painful. That was a $1,600 loss all in one trade. And it was kind of devastating because that wiped out all of the profits that I had made for the last I guess it was only 3 trading days at that point. But on the other side too, it's like, well, okay, I made $1,600 in 3 trading days, so I guess I can make it up pretty easily. And I kept my emotions at bay. I didn't get upset about it, and just tried to make the best trades that I could for that day. So when I decided to do a reverse at that point, I then made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more trades, and they were all profitable, and you can see where they are here. They were fairly small. They're 250. The biggest one was 550, but most of them were about 200. Actually, I made 2 trades that were 500. 550 and 500. And then the very last one that I made put me right over the top with this great big trade. I saw it dropping, so I got into a short, never even sustained a loss at all, and made 500 on this one right here. Just that little space. Isn't that incredible? $500 right there. And then I made one more trade that evening at about 7:30 and actually lost $100. And I could see it kind of going the wrong way. I was in a short, and I could see it kind of going the wrong way, but not real fast. So I went ahead and just got out. And it's like, I've made enough today. A $100 loss is not that big of a deal, and I should be just happy that I've recovered. And actually ended up making more than I had lost that day. So I made over $1,600 after I lost that. I was pretty tickled. That was hard work. That was a lot of work, and I traded between 10 o'clock and it ended at 3:20 that evening. So that was a lot of trading. Alrighty, and then Wednesday, you could see here I made a really good trade. I got in along, kind of at the support level that it had hit, and it was zipped up there and got out. And notice the numbers between 48 and 56. That's a huge trade. I'm not used to making that big of trades normally, but looking at my phone, I'm finding that I'm aiming for it because it's so volatile right now. I think, you can see the jogs in each of these wobbles is, it's around 10 to 20 points. And so even if you can catch a very small piece of that, even 5 points, good grief, that's $250. So I'm catching like almost 10-point trades today. And that's kind of phenomenal. Somewhere between 5 and 10 points. So I made 3 trades. The first one I made at 8:20, between 8:20 and 8:24. So in 4 minutes, I made $425 right here. The second trade I made between 8:35 and 8:54. So I held on to that one a little bit longer, like 20 minutes, and made $325. And it did sustain a very small loss at one point. You can see it kind of dipped down, but it held at the support and it went up. And then I got out. And then it started to drop, and so I got into a short, which is kind of interesting because it's so wobbly right now that you can actually do both shorts and longs. And when it starts to drop and makes those jogs, it's enough to trade on, even though you may be kind of trading counter trend. And the last trade I made after the opening bell between 9:36 and 9:44. And that was a $375 trade right there. And so at 9:44, I was done for the day, and I had made $1,100-ish, something like that. So that was probably the first time in my entire life I've ever traded and felt like my trades were solid. They were good trades. I didn't sustain any loss that was anything to worry about at any point. I only made 3 trades, and I've made that much money. I've never done that well. So I'm intrigued with the new idea of trading on my phone and looking at the bigger picture, because it's just too easy to get wrapped up in the jitteriness of the market and the volatility of the market when you're looking at this small time frame. So anyway, thanks for joining me.